Hi, it's been a while and completely my fault and life and all the things. Yeah, so I thought I would do kind of a quick small update on how I've been upkeeping my books and just what's been going on in general. I also was having so many issues with my back and I couldn't sit properly for like long periods of time for about a week. So that made recording anything virtually impossible. And then I also had some time off from work, so that was fun. And even though I had anticipated, or rather had hoped to record a lot of stuff and use the time to really be productive and, all the things, none of that happened. But I did enjoy the break and didn't know how much I needed it until now having to get back into the swing of things, which is a little bit challenging. So, yeah, in terms of my books, I did start using the weekly supplement, which I think I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna move this aside. So, this is basically the little weekly supplement. I just hate the color. This is so not the vibe. So let me just show you how I have been using this. Um, I've only done like 3 weeks in here, so it's not a whole lot. This is not recording anything of any importance, and it's also not for productivity purposes. So if that's what you're looking for, this is not going to be it for you. This will not be helpful. So this is basically how I started filling it out. I was very overwhelmed. I didn't use a weekly layout before, so I was just unsure what to do. So I started by kind of time blocking because there's no other way to really use it if you're not blocking out the time. It just didn't make sense to me in any other way to just write out things without blocking off the time because you are kind of writing it in within the little timestamps. Anyway, so I just figured I would block out the time, not that I'm going to use that for any tracking or record keeping purpose, but just visually, I guess. So I started off with writing in print, and I have been using the Energel in this book. It's the 0.3 millimeter refill, and I didn't like how it looked, so I decided to then change over and just write in cursive, which I think I prefer it. You can't really tell whether it's neat or untidy just because it is in cursive. It's immediately a little bit more difficult to read as opposed to just normal print. So I just like the look of it a little bit more. And also, I felt like this space, at first, it was kind of difficult to fit everything in these boxes or like in the column with. So that took a little bit of getting used to. But I think after the first few days, I was okay with it. So I just started writing out whatever I was hyperfixating on for that week. Like anytime I binge watch anything, I would write down if there was something in particular that I was not really researching, but just wanting more information on it. I would write that down. Yeah, kind of that was it. I did want to keep it fairly minimal just because I am already memory keeping in 2 books. So I didn't want to add anything else that would be too much of a burden for my life. So yeah, I did try to keep it really simple. It was challenging to use this kind of format just because I didn't use it before. I think after the first couple days, I was very confident in the fact that I just paid for this book and I'm just not going to use it at all after the first week of using it. I just felt like it couldn't gel with the weekly format. It just wasn't for me, even though I'm not using it for productivity. I think that's possibly why it felt so foreign and it just didn't feel like it was fitting. So after the week, I don't think I used it for a few days. I actually think I forgot that it existed. um, but I did come back to it and I thought I'll give it another go. And if I hate it, I just will not touch it again. But I wanted to take some of the learnings that I did learn from week 1 into week 2 just to hopefully modify and come up with something that I like just slightly better because this to me was just too boring. Like even now, I don't even want to look at it. It's just not really holding my attention in any way. So for the next week, it is a bit of a stark contrast to literally nothing. But yeah, I do like how it turned out and kind of what I started incorporating within the pages. So, like I said, I will just record anytime I am hyperfixating over something. So, this was a lot of YouTube videos, specifically Standard Traveler's Notebook videos that I was watching. So, I just jotted that down. But what I did notice was I do have a bit in the morning and then obviously after work that I do whatever I want. Like within my working hours across an entire week, there's just like an entire gap consistently for the whole week because obviously like I'm working, I'm not going to be doing anything else other than my work. So I didn't like how that looked and I thought of filling that blank space in. So I did just stick in kind of a bit of decoration that has no real relation to any of these pages, just to break up the space so it doesn't look as boring as the first week. So I just stuck in this picture. It's fan art for Alchemized, which would be releasing the following week. So in anticipation of that, I just stuck in the fan art and I will include the name of the artist somewhere on the screen because I don't think you can read it from here. And yeah, I just decorated a little bit. Of course, my binder clip stickers that I made. I started to use the clear rubber stamps. So I stuck those in or stamped those in. And yeah, I like how it turned out. So that's just what I did for the week. At the top, I tried to write certain like kind of events, even though there aren't really any events. But I did try to utilize the little boxes at the top. Not every day I did that, and I think that's also fine. And then at the bottom, I forced myself to fill in the space just because it felt really empty, especially because I don't really have a use for the right hand column at this point. If I were to use it, it would just be for quotes because I can't think of anything else that I would include here. So I either leave it blank or fill it in with a quote. I didn't want to do that on this page though. So anyway, at the bottom, I just decided to write in very brief thoughts about certain types of media that I had watched or consumed for that week. And it was just things that I wouldn't necessarily want to record anywhere else in my books. It's not things that I care to really know about. Like here, I just have, I had watched A Hey Charlie Sheen, so I just wrote down very brief overview thoughts on the documentary, whatever movie. Um, I watched One of Them Days because that was on Netflix, and I started reading All the Young Dudes, which is a Marauders fan fiction. So I was just writing about that. I think I started reading it here. Oh, actually, duh, obviously, there's a book icon dot, so I would have started it there. So yeah, I was just reading that and then just writing very brief thoughts on it. I am reading it with my sister, so that's kind of been fun. It is 1,500 pages. I think I have about 400 pages left to go, so I should be finished with it soon. And I'm not enjoying it at all. I am reading it with my sister, so that's the only fun part about it, that we both get to talk shit about this book to each other. And I actually don't know what I'll do like once we finish the book. Then I'll start a new book and I'm not going to have anybody to talk about the book with. So that's the only thing about the book that I have been enjoying. But yeah, that's what I was doing. I also used my Tamagotchi Decorush up here. That's just one of the images. I know people tend to like use the Decorush in kind of a line or to create borders and stuff. I normally just do one image at a time just so it's similar to that of a sticker. So yeah, that's essentially the layout that I had worked out and decided I was happy with, and then kind of implemented some of these elements into the following week. And this is what came of that. I did decide to stick in my like standard templates for whatever media that I am reviewing that I stick into my passport TN. So I decided to stick that in here just because the big picture that I used was purely to take up the space, whereas here I did want to write, so I didn't want to take up too much space with the images. I just stuck in the 3 book covers because, I mean, the book is divided into 3 parts because it's so lengthy. So yeah, I just stuck in the various parts. And as you can see, I was just reading for most of the week. I started running my Snoopy Tamagotchi, so I noted that up there. Alchemize was released finally, like most anticipated read. I cannot wait. I also started a new save file for Stardew Valley, so I wrote that in. Started Gilmore Girls rewatch because it is the season. Yeah, and I do just need to finish off the week here. I think at the bottom I will most likely do general thoughts and overview over my new save file for Stardew Valley that I had started. Just because I had to redo a save file simply because I had forgotten where I had left off. So I'm thinking if I just note it down somewhere, if I stop playing for a while and then come back to it, I won't be completely lost. And I'll have the information somewhere in one of my books of where I was at before I stop playing. Yeah, so that's basically it. I think I like how it's starting to look, even though I don't really care for the time blocking. I do like how it looks. I mean, we've come a kind of a far way from where we first started. Yeah, I do like how it looks. Again, no idea what I would do with the left column. There are literally no codes that I care to write in there, so it's most likely going to remain blank. That's where I'm at with this book. I most likely will not show this book again just because I don't think it's going to help anybody, especially because it's absolutely not productive. If anything, this is just brain rot goes here, but I kind of want to know what we're rotting about, so that's the purpose of this. And I don't think that would be helpful to literally anybody else outside of explaining why or how I'm using it for that purpose. So yeah, I most likely will not show this again. But hopefully, if you wanted to try something similar, this helps you because there's only productivity related content when it comes to the weekly supplement, and that didn't really help me in any way. Oh, yeah, that's this. Oh, and I also just really like how my icon dots look in these columns. Like, really, really happy with that. I still need to reformat my icon dots and print new sticker sheets. I have not done that. Yeah, so that's the weekly supplement. For my passport traveler's notebook, I don't think so. The only thing I have done are these 2 pages, which is basically a summary of the series that I was watching at the time, which was Ghosts, and my rant on the Thursday Murder Club movie, which was just so anticipated and such a fail. God. So yeah, that's that. Don't think there's anything else. I didn't do a September intentions title page thingy. I think it's the first month that I've skipped since starting this last year. I just didn't have anything that I wanted to stick in or any real intentions for the month. So yeah, it just didn't feel like something I wanted to do. And then the month is like almost over, so it just became pointless to even create one. So I figured we'll set up October and see where we go from there. I do have quite a few pictures that I've printed, and my little picture storage it's never been this thick before. So hopefully I have something that we can use just to decorate the title page. It's also spooky season, which is always fun. So yeah, maybe I can use something spooky at least. Okay, so some of the little bits, I don't think white would look nice there, so it would have to be something black. And we have a little coat. Okay, I think no to those two. Skeletons are always fun, but like I don't like the spacing of this one. It's a bit too short. Same with that. I don't like the spacing of it. Gothic castle. I don't like how much white there is. So maybe this. I kind of like this little cat that's dressed up as a ghost. I think that's sweet. Layered there, but I think I like the cat a little bit more. So what I'm thinking is I will probably stick this in here, and then I have like black letter stickers, so I could just write October, like stick in the little letters of October going down, and then that will literally be it, and just fill in the margin with to read, to watch, the usual that I do in the margin. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. I don't really feel like I have the capacity to do anything really fun or creative. Also, update on the Ane drawer pouch. I've been using it. I like it. It's got everything in it that I need. Actually, I now have a tote of all the stationery, which it's just a lot. Anyway, the drawer pouch, it's great. The only problem I have is it attracts fur. Like I have a dog and a cat, so their fur is literally on everything, as is my life at this point. So I'm going to show you the drawer pouch and how it looks like on the regular, so you can see whether if you were thinking about it and you have pets, maybe not. So yeah, this is how the drawer pouch looks. It is just constantly covered in fur. um yeah, this fabric absolutely attracts all dust, all fur, like you can see even on the handle. It's fairly easy to clean. I just use a lint roller and then it looks perfectly fine. But with having to literally clean everything in my life, I don't really want to be lint rolling my stationery. So not loving that aspect. And I do store my weekly supplements just in this little pouch here, just because it's so easy to get and on the go. Yeah. But heads up, if you want like the plain black and you have pets, especially if your pets do not have black fur, it's not it. But yeah, that's basically where we're at for October. I am getting my copy of Manacled. No, I am getting my copy of Alchemized tomorrow. So that will literally be my personality for the next week and for the foreseeable future at this point. Yeah, I know this wasn't much of an update or much or very interesting, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Hoping October is a little bit more interesting and I get to do a few more creative in like fun things, especially in my traveler's notebook. I did order a little bit of new stationery and I am going to get my traveler's company up so that I can do an unboxing and do a setup of my new traveler's notebook. Yeah, so that's everything that I had to update. See you soon. Take care. Bye.